let's drop the beat right off the bat. Ken and Glenn.
Yo, what is up?
What's up? You're looking
guys.
you're looking lovely today, Ken. I thought you were gonna say Anna.
Whoa.
You know,
Thank you, Glenn. Thank you.
not totally selfishly thought you were going to say me simply because the last time we recorded an episode, I was just getting over being really sick and I was a total hot mess on camera. So thank you for being patient with me on that one.
No, I'm glad because I even asked you when we first jumped on. I was like, "How are you feeling?" Because it is brutal. But I'm glad you're doing a lot better.
Yeah,
So,
Glenn knows
I am
about
doing so much
Glenn knows
better.
about getting sick.
Ugh.
I try
hate
to
it.
not get sick.
I hate
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, so
I
guys,
usually
stay healthy.
never get
Stay
sick.
healthy.
Yeah,
Drink your vitamins. Eat your vegetables.
for real.
Yeah.
And if life is crazy, be extra cautious because I normally get sick maybe once a year. I've been sick 4 times this year. Like real sick, like had to get medical care sick.
Oh man.
It-
That's
So-
good.
Yeah.
Don't
It's-
let that happen. It's terrible.
It's Q4. It's the busiest time of the year.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of selling, but there's a lot of family events that y'all don't want to miss. So let's start off with that. Are you guys excited about all the family events and gatherings that's up and coming? Why are you smiling already, Glenn?
I feel like it's because I feel like Thanksgiving. We talked me and Thanksgiving, and then it's like you eat a bunch of food, you see people, family, but then Christmas is so soon right after that you're like,
It is.
here's more food, and here's the same people I just saw.
There's more family.
And so it's just like, man, I'm bombarded. And here's a crazy thing. My parents' birthdays are 2 days right after Christmas. And then my dad's birthday is
gosh.
3 days right after my mom's birthday. Then it goes into New Year. And then 2 weeks after that, it's my birthday. So it is just like nonstop, just eating.
So
Party.
Yeah.
that's like, so you don't have any events throughout the year until like the last month. And
Exactly.
it's back to back to back to back.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you're just bombarded
That's a
with
total
events.
marathon. Well, and
It-
your birthday is the last one. So by the time it's your birthday, are you like over it completely?
Yeah,
They're
I
done,
actually
yeah.
kind of am, yeah, because I feel like we've already gone to eat, we've already done this, and now it's like, oh man.
You
They-
should start celebrating your half birthday instead.
Oh, that's true, yeah. Maybe in summertime, light meal,
Yeah.
warm weather.
Right?
Workout.
Party.
Let's do like a
Workout.
marathon birthday.
Yeah, you see, now we're talking.
So
Okay, Anna, go ahead.
Anna,
What
Oh my
ab-
gosh.
yeah.
yeah, you move back home, technically,
did.
right? And how excited are you for the up and coming family events?
Yeah, I'm really excited. So, my husband John and I are from 2 very different parts of the country, far away. So, like, our entire relationship, holidays have been like a lot of traveling regardless. But what's cool now is, we're back in my hometown. And so we get to spend some holidays with my family that we never have gotten to spend with them in the last 12 years or so. So that's really fun. And our house is it's a lot more conducive to like hosting ourselves, like hosting parties and stuff and gatherings than our old house was in Georgia. So we get to kind of be the nexus of some of those celebrations, which is also really fun. And like, I love to cook, but anytime we would be visiting from 600 miles away to my family here, like it was rare that I would get the chance to like cook something or bring something. And so now it's like completely opposite, and most of it is going to be on me to like prepare, but I love doing that, so I'm excited about it.
Very nice,
Well,
very nice, Kenny.
I'm gonna have a sunny Christmas. Being in Ohio,
you?
it's usually wintertime, but this year we are heading back home to the Philippines and spend Christmas there with
Nice.
my side of family. So I'm excited about that. I just seen them this year, but for some reason I'm extra excited to see them again. I guess that's because my parents didn't get to come visit us this year. They usually visit us every year. But
Oh,
we
okay.
visited them this year in February, and then they're not coming here. Instead, together we're celebrating Christmas there. My sister from Canada is going back to the Philippines as well. So it's gonna be a big family gathering, and
Yeah.
so I'm trying to spend as much time I can until I can't handle it and fly to an island and chill. so
How long
so
are you gonna be gone?
3 weeks.
3 weeks.
Really good amount of time. So Filipino food is, I love it. It's
Oh,
very
so good.
fattening. It's very carbs heavy and sweet. So that's probably why I'm working out a little extra so
Yeah,
that
I'm so glad you're gonna be hitting up Orange Theory in the Philippines.
oh, they don't have Orange Theory there. That would be fire.
You'll
But
have to do Ken's theory instead.
Yeah.
yeah, like we were talking about that. How are we gonna do that? But we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. But well, guys, that's a little snippet of what's up and coming. That's the holiday or family time episode.
Yeah. Our
Mm-hmm.
our listenership in the Philippines better be skyrocketing for those 3 weeks.
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
that's so
definitely.
true. And maybe some people in Serbia is gonna listen to it.
Oh, I like
Yeah.
Very
that.
family
Some
oriented.
more. Some
More.
more people in
Yeah, we
Serbia. We
love.
already have people in Serbia.
Yep.
Exactly. Love them.
And Texas, keep going strong. Keep going
Exact. Great state of
strong.
Texas.
Great
Keep going
state.
strong.
What's the tagline?
Texas made, Texas paid.
Let's
Yes,
go.
sir.
Glenn Zavia Jr., first state representative. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Anna,
I love
take
it.
it over.
Oh my gosh, yes, let's get the train on the tracks officially. Well, we have a really fun topic today, and I think as per what's becoming usual, we're going to have some different perspectives on it, which is part of why we love to have these conversations with each other.
Hmm.
But I think just right out the gate, we're talking about sourcing, but not just any old context for sourcing. Ken and Glenn, a few weeks ago, one or both of you guys were mentioning on the podcast about how sometimes counterintuitively Q4 and Q1 can be like some of the best times to do sourcing. And I think me and like many other sellers, a lot of times we're preoccupied and we're thinking about shipping, we're thinking about end of year stuff. We're not really thinking about, about sourcing as like a top priority. And so that's kind of where I want to kick off this topic with you guys, because I really want to hear your insights about that. I think it is a little counterintuitive to think about focusing on sourcing in Q4 and Q1. And, there's a lot of other sourcing considerations too, which I'm sure we'll get into. But
Yeah.
let's just start with that. So
Yeah.
tell me more
So
about that, because it's
yeah,
very intriguing.
I think my take on it, because as far as on the retail arbitrage side, like when you buy at a discount retail store, or even the
Mm-hmm.
actual brand store, they actually have some really good up and coming or ongoing sales during Q4.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, like Black Friday stuff or
100%, right? Like Black
okay.
Friday or leading up to Christmas. And there are certain areas that you can look for that are heavily discounted. We all know that sometimes this staple holidays are like fake sales, right? Like we've seen it. I mean,
Right.
we've seen it throughout time that the day before Black Friday, it's actually cheaper to buy.
Yeah. I
So,
mean, one of the main ones, which we can break that down even further, is Nike Outlet, because we've
mhm.
seen that year after
Ah,
year. It's
Glenn
like,
videotaped it. Glenn
yeah.
recorded it the day before and the day after, and it's
really?
funny. Yeah,
Yeah, it's hilarious, and it's
Oh
like
my
they hit you with these
gosh.
fake sales that to make you feel like you're saving money. And if you didn't do your
Yeah.
research, then of course you feel like you're getting a great deal. But in reality,
Yeah, it looks like
yeah, it
it.
was on
Yeah.
sale beforehand, so you're not
yeah,
necessarily saving anything. So
yeah,
it's really important to do your homework on that stuff.
yeah. So here's the tip,
Wow.
Glenn, and me, throughout the last few holidays, I take a photos of the items prior to Black Friday sale or any other sale day. Glenn's a little mature and he has a notebook and writes them down.
Yeah.
He writes them
Glenn is
down
a
I
Glenn
physically.
is
do
a
have the photos too,
detective.
though, but
He has the photos,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I've seen his notebook. I've seen this notebook, and this is gonna be legendary someday with all the
Oh my
prices. Yeah.
gosh.
So he writes them down, and he
And the
analyzes
date.
what actually and the date, what actually went down and what went up. But one of the tip that we could
Wow.
give, that's number one, is make sure to actually go there before, and then during and after, because sometimes after they could mark it down more.
Hmm.
But the one of the
Yeah.
spots that I could give out as a tip or as a kind of like a clue to people that are shopping during this time is sometimes or most of the time the clearance item, they actually don't change the price on those because it's something
Okay.
that they want to get rid of already. The ones in the main aisles and stuff like that, they're gonna play around with the price tags, but the ones that
Yeah.
they have marked down already to the lowest level, those are discounts on top of discounts already. So
So
that's
if you
when,
see those, get
yeah,
them when you
yeah,
see
that's
them.
when, that's
Okay.
when then you can double up on the discounts. Because sometimes Nike would, even Nike outlet would do extra 30% on clearance, and then they would say 40% on all your purchase. What people don't understand, those actually stack. So you get
Yeah.
30% off on a clearance item plus 40% on all your purchases. So
Yeah.
it is worth the craziness. What do
Yeah,
you think, Len?
So
depending on the sale, of course.
Yeah.
But I'll go ahead, Anna.
I was just gonna say, so these are great great for retail arb. Do you
Mm-hmm.
think that some of this stuff applies across the board to other types of sourcing, or is this pretty specific to maybe outlet stores? Like, and just thinking about retail arb more broadly,
Mm-hmm.
what about Black Friday sales at places like Best Buy or like Target or places that might have a crazy deal on something? Have you guys ever found that, well, sometimes the products that they are discounting really low for Black Friday are not the same as the usual products, or they're not going to be that valuable afterwards because they're so mass available for that sale, or how does that play in?
I feel like,
Any
well, me and my
thoughts?
family used to love doing like the whole Black Friday
Yeah.
and doing all of that. Even though I started to feel bad for the workers because I did have to work the Black Fridays, and I know what kind of pain they had to
Yeah.
go through. Um,
Terrible. Yeah.
but we used to go and things like that. But I feel like over time, their sales just got kind of fake sales
Water
too.
down, right?
Yeah, watered down, or maybe like no
Yeah.
name brands. Like, oh, you want a big screen TV, and it's like a brand you've never heard of. Um,
Yeah.
or like it's kind of funny because years ago there'd be Blu-ray, like movies and DVDs, and then like now no one really cares, and those were one of the
Yep.
main things they kind of
Yeah.
banked on at one point, and now it's just
So
kind of
true.
like just stream whatever you want.
Yeah,
So,
stream everything. Yep.
and that's when I think,
Yeah.
oh,
I remember standing outside all night for a digital camera,
oh,
when I was in college. But Black Friday was so fun back then
It
it
was
too.
was
fun.
fun.
It was. I remember scouring the ads and where are we going to, mapping out all the places we're going to physically go. And I
Yeah.
feel like it definitely has changed a
I
lot.
Yeah.
remember the iPods were like $100 off. Like that
Mm.
one was
Yeah.
big sale. Um
Oh, yeah.
but also too, like when we talk about retail arbitrage, it's physical and sometimes it's online. And what we've noticed
Yeah.
within the last few years, I mean probably 2 3 years, that there are some deals online to be had. Um and it may be like 10% different than actually finding it in store, but online the convenience of it, getting delivered to you. Now
Yeah.
there's programs and softwares that they scour price checks and stuff like that. But even just hanging out on Twitter, me and Glenn, during this time we would just send links from Twitter, or Twitter would actually just publish certain stores. And I think more than ever now, everybody's onboarded on e-commerce. So there are your previously mom and pop shop that you had to physically go there. That most of
Yeah.
the time, the mom and pop shop would actually prefer doing online sale because they don't want to deal with the customer or the rush, or they wanted to take
Yeah.
off during holidays or certain sale days. So we've noticed that they
Hmm.
will throw extra 30, extra 40%, or sometimes they would just do 50% all everything in store, everything online, and
Mm.
people just do that. And there's been crazy
Yeah.
deals that's unbelievable that actually wait, they ship this. It's like, yep, it happens.
Well, I think there's been
Yeah.
two big changes though that I guess I would throw in. It was like number one, it went from Cyber Monday to just straight up Cyber Week. So,
Yeah.
whatever deals you can
No
come
kidding.
across, yeah, you can any
Yeah.
site. And then to follow that up, it went from chasing down the sales to just, straight up price matching with other stores. Like,
That's
Walmart will
true.
now price match
Yeah.
Best Buy or Target or the opposite. And so, hey, you find it somewhere else cheaper. Oh, they'd rather take that sale from the other store and match that price than, go through that whole struggle of like, hey, Black Friday and that's it. It's like, nope.
Processing a bunch of returns and
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's interesting.
Sorry, I cut you off. I don't.
So,
Go ahead.
oh no, you're fine.
Oh.
But so for those of us who are maybe new or totally uninitiated with retail arb, would you guys say that there could be some good opportunities for people like that to dip their toes in the water during this quarter? And like, what would you recommend for somebody who's never really tried that side of sourcing before? Is this a really overwhelming time to try to look into that, or do you think that there's too good of opportunities to neglect it?
Well, quite honestly, I would probably go all in on the, I guess, selling side of things, getting everything listed,
Mm.
making sure you're on top of your
Mm-hmm.
shipping, making sure you're not double selling items, making
Yeah.
sure everything is good on that side of things because you're going to get bombarded with sales. It's almost just an automatic with Q4. So, you kind of
Yeah.
expect that already. And then to worry about the sourcing side, I wouldn't really want to if you're one of those sellers that are like, I really need to focus on this. And another thing to keep in mind, because we sell, from like Burlington, Ross, and all these discounted stores, like these off price discounted stores, they don't even run Black Friday deals or any other deals from
Yeah.
November till December. And you're not really missing out anything there as well, unless it's brand new inventory, but they're not going to change the price on anything. So you're not missing out on any Black Friday deals or nothing like that. And I think that's kind of funny too. Is we would get the questions like on some of the Wednesday shows, like, well, "What's your advice for Black Friday at Ross?" And I'm like, "There is no sale."
There is no Black Friday at
Yeah.
Ross.
And I
Yeah.
think Ross answered one of the questions one time on IG or Twitter, and they're like, "We don't
Oh
need
my
to
gosh.
run those sales. Our prices are low all year round."
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
No,
Well,
that
and
that is
I
so
can tell
true.
you. Yeah, I mean, I love Ross. I don't know why. I've always loved it. I feel like the things I buy there, it's like very hit or miss, but whenever it's a hit, it's like a big hit. It's like my
Mm.
Yeah.
favorite piece of clothing I've ever owned or something.
No, I
And so, like,
Ross
I don't know
Ross as a
why.
shopper
It's
is great. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
just that's
it's
why
magical.
that's why during these times it's extra messy that you don't want to even go there because
Oh yeah.
without a sale it's already a deal. Then you have people, become trigger shoppers because of the season.
Yes.
Then it's, it just adds so much more.
Well,
Line's gonna be
yeah.
crazy.
That's what I was gonna say. Like that's my Black Friday Ross experience. Is I was out Black Friday shopping other places, and I'm near a Ross, so I'm like, well, of course I'm gonna go in Ross because
Yeah,
I'm already out
exactly.
shopping. So like they probably benefit so much from that. Like
Hmm.
you know,
Yeah, they're
shoppers buy
open
other
late, and I
places.
remember one of the Black Fridays too. I think they
Yeah.
close at 1 or 2 a.m. and like they know
Wow.
what they're doing.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But I do want to talk about some of the other. Let's say we're staying in retail and then going off a little bit, but let's go into like, let's say Savers, Goodwill, thrifting type of
Okay.
things. I'm trying to think of like the sales that they usually run. For the most part, it's not anything huge either. I mean,
Mhm.
Yeah.
at least that
The
I know
thrifting
of, at least
stuff.
that I could remember, um, on that side of thing. And then you're getting into, let's say, after the Goodwill Savers, any of that, you're starting thinking about like garage sales and swap meets and things like that. With it being
Yeah.
cold, there's way less
Yeah.
garage
Yeah.
sales. And then even at the
Yeah.
swap meets, it's like you get people freezing out there at 5 a.m. and
Yeah.
they're out there, but it's kind of the same items as well. You can stay consistent, but I would still be focusing on selling than freezing
Yeah.
out there.
Well, I think all of that is why, at least from my limited perspective, right, it seems counterintuitive to think about sourcing during this time. But I could totally see where, like, if you find a really good deal on something you're interested in selling, maybe online,
Yeah,
Yep.
maybe
online,
then
yeah.
it would, okay,
I
yeah,
agree.
maybe order something. But yeah, because I totally value, like, the, I don't know, the value of focus is very high in
Mm-hmm.
my life and in my business. And so I totally agree with that advice. Like, you are in control of your focus. So you really
Mm-hmm.
have to protect your focus and do what makes sense for your business during this time. And at the same time, we're all, eventually going to turn the corner and start making goals for 2024. That some of that, of course, is bound to involve like inventory management type of goals, revenue type of goals, listing goals. So, you are going to have to, kind of return a chunk of your focus back to sourcing at some point going
Mm-hmm.
into the new year. So it's hard, but we all have to find our own balance with that stuff.
Well, I would say if more than anything for me personally this year is I want to sell as much inventory as I can this Q4 before it goes too crazy or anything else. Um, like Glenn said, like going out, there's always deals to be had, but at least have a plan. Don't be like going out there trying to source with no plan or no budget. Um,
Yeah.
I think this year we talk about Q4 and Q1 opportunity. I would rather put more effort on Q1 sourcing than Q4 this year.
Yeah. Well, and I think there's a really key distinction you just kind of hit on, which is, are you thinking about sourcing or are you thinking about reinvesting in your business? Because if
That's
you're
good.
thinking about reinvesting, then you have a budget and you have a plan and there's a proportionate spend there and there's intentional types of purchases. But if you're just sourcing, you know, willy nilly, like maybe
Yeah.
none of that is actually the most helpful thing for your actual business and your goals. Um,
No plan,
so
no
I think
homework
that's
as
definitely worth,
well. That doesn't help.
right? Oh my gosh, no.
All right, so I'm gonna
Okay.
savor story. I gotta hear this.
Yes, I have a crazy story. You mentioned Savers a minute ago, and I like just heard about this the other day. So there is a Savers sort of near me. I've never actually lived near a Savers before until I moved here, and I think it's a recent addition to like this community that's near me. So it hasn't been there that long. Love it. Actually, I bought a cool vintage dress to wear to the eBay Open Atlanta studio event at this Savers,
Very
and it was
nice.
amazing. And it was like $12 or something. It was great. Great experience. I've sourced there a little bit. Okay, so the other day, like earlier this week, there was a tractor trailer full of inventory parked outside of it that caught on fire,
What?
burned completely to the ground. None of that is salvageable, but not only that, everything inside of the Savers store is probably going to have to be thrown away because of smoke damage.
What? Oh man.
Wow.
Isn't that
But nobody got
crazy?
hurt. No, no.
I didn't hear it about any like human problems with it. Just that
So
all the stuff is completely ruined and
so
damaged.
Oh,
can you have savers donate the smoke damaged products to you?
Right? I was like, are we sure that none of it's salvageable? But I mean, I don't know what every Savers is like, but this thing is huge. Like it was a grocery store or something before. It's giant and packed full of stuff. And I was just thinking, oh my gosh. And that's just the sales floor. Like there's a massive donation, half or more of the building behind that. And all that stuff might have to just get thrown away. So don't be throwing your cigarettes out or like playing with fire around a thrift store because I can't imagine the amount of trash that is now going to be.
hopefully. Well,
So,
good thing no one donated any grenades or I don't know.
Something explosive
I forgot
like
that
a
was.
gas can. A gas can with half full of gas.
I don't think you're supposed to donate that stuff.
You're not. I
Yeah,
remember
Glenn.
because my thrift store, I know it was closed down because someone found a grenade. And I don't know
Oh
how old it was.
no.
I don't know how old it was.
They're like
Now we're here.
hoping it's just a paperweight or something.
Yeah, they were here laughing like, "What grenades?" Yeah, someone donated. I don't know where they found it on one of the bins or something, and they had to close down. They had to come check
Wow.
it, and I don't know how old it was or what was going on there, but you know, there's some weird
I
stuff that
mean,
get donated, so who knows what could
oh, for
happen.
sure. And like you're donating a closed, opaque bin full of mystery items. Like anything could be in there. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, we don't want that catching fire now.
No.
So
But anyway, that was my crazy savers story.
wait, so is it closed then right now
Yeah, I mean, I think it
until?
has to be until they can clean everything up.
Oh man.
Yeah,
Well,
I know.
I guess it's you gotta keep us updated then on what's gonna happen there.
Yeah,
Q4.
first we had to follow Ken's PlayStation 5 return. Now we'll have
True.
to follow my burned out savers
Yes, exactly.
saga.
Maybe
So,
they'll have a grand
but
opening.
yeah, maybe they
30%
will. I will
off.
happily go shop at that.
You
if they
see?
do.
Now
So,
we be ready. All
I
right,
know, I
now
was just getting used to savers.
yeah. Okay, I want to see what they get. Now getting into I don't know Q1, which we talked about sourcing Q4. Sourcing Q1,
Yeah.
I feel like it's a totally different ball game, but the new year always brings something different too. So there's so many weird factors. I'll start off with I have filmed going to Ross, Burlington, these stores right after the holidays. And it is a ghost town. They don't have much. A lot of stuff
Yeah.
is down. And usually like Ross will do one of the random days where everything or mostly everything's like $1.49. A lot of things are 49 cents.
They clearance stuff. They mark down,
From
right?
exactly from the size
Oh
18
wow.
KDs,
Just bad sizing. Bad
bad
size. Extreme
sizing,
size. Yeah.
extra small, stuff that's gonna expire soon, random things down to $1.49,
Yeah.
49 cents. I think is the lowest you'll see,
I love
and
that.
I love I love that, and they're just trying to get
I
everything
love a
out.
dollar 49.
Yeah. So that usually happens in January. But what we noticed also though is this January sales were still going pretty strong. So I feel like your focus there is also important and you are going to get returns, which that's another thing you have to keep track of. And then tax
Yeah.
time is right around the corner. So you're kind of in a weird space in January. I actually don't really like January that much when it comes to the reselling side of things.
Across my entire family, we have a mantra about January. Would you like to know what it is?
Mm-mm.
Yep.
January sucks.
But I was born in January. All right, go ahead.
Well, except for that.
Okay.
Well, and unfortunately in my family, most like tragedies and deaths have happened in January. So we just have
Okay.
anniversary after anniversary of terrible loss. Basically, it's all of
Okay,
January.
that makes sense.
But also not good for sourcing.
Yeah, also, sourcing is questionable. Now, you would think maybe, I'm trying to think how online sourcing was this year after the holidays.
I think it's
Kind of the same.
dude, I don't
I don't
remember what
remember.
I did January.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my memory of January's past in the sense of running my store has been mostly like getting back into the swing of things after the chaos of the holidays and getting back to a regular listing flow and kind of like just running, getting back to my daily routines because everything gets so disrupted, especially from, right before Christmas to after New Year's. There's always been like traveling involved for me. So it really is like coming back, not being on time away, shipping out a bunch of stuff, getting back into some kind of groove. And so, I wonder how that's going to be this year too, or if it's going to be a little more chill. It's also usually like literally chill and so cold in January
Yeah.
that I don't want to go out and go shopping anywhere. So I'm like, oh, I'll list whatever little pile I have, and kind of like hibernate a little bit. But yeah, I've never had a super strong sourcing focus at that time either that I can recall.
But here's where it changes for the thrifters, though, because when the new year starts, you do have those people that are like, all right, you got this new stuff for Christmas. Get all this other stuff out. You don't use this
Yep.
anymore. Now they're
Mm.
donating. Now they're selling on, if it's garage sales or not, or swap meet stuff, or they're setting up. So usually the thrifter side of it is their time to source and gain as much as they can when people are throwing out older items. So, but like you said too, you are battling the weather on the conditions
Yeah.
to get out there. And a lot of the times, I don't know, they're not like crazy deals, just depending on maybe what the store is. But even going to the swap meets, things like that for Q1, I feel like also there's a little kind of like down too. Some people are just like, man, like this stuff didn't sell in holiday time. This is like your best shot to sell. And maybe you can get a
Yeah.
better
I feel
deal
like the
then.
morale is usually a little down
Yeah.
So
in
so
On old
January.
items.
so
Yeah.
we have to find an activity in January. Well, sad to say, guys, the first 2 weeks in January, I'll be in an island, sipping some coconut
Coconut.
Oh,
and
you sound
chilling.
devastated about
Yeah,
it.
so this
Yeah.
year is gonna be extra hard.
To come back
Yeah, it's gonna be
after that.
hard to come back.
Yeah.
So, um, but but again, I think we talk about sourcing. Um, I just want everybody to sell as much as they can in Q4. I have
Yeah.
said this over and over again that we're gonna have one of the worst Q1 ever in the last 4 or 5
Why?
years
Tell us why. Predict it.
because economy hasn't been the greatest. Um, election year's coming up. Um, everybody's gonna realize Q4 that not a lot they don't that we don't have a lot of money. Um,
Mm.
so Q1 is gonna be a wake up call or a realization that buyers or consumers are gonna be really tight.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And I've
People may
seen
be
it
like
already throughout the
backlashing.
year of
Yeah.
23. So with those combined, the people that have extra cash will win because it's a good time to buy inventory, but don't expect it to sell soon because the
Yeah.
selling is gonna be hard. So that's my prediction. Q1, Q2 is gonna be like a meh moment, but it's either gonna be really hard or it's gonna be really good for people that have capital
So
to
it'll be
sweep
a
up all the
time,
deals.
yeah, to keep the long game in mind, right?
Yeah,
Don't panic after a quarter or two of
yeah,
downturn,
yeah.
which I don't know, like a lot of sellers that I've talked to, and it's hard for me to separate my own numbers from like the circumstances around me moving and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So like it's hard for me to compare my own to other people's, but a lot of people that I've talked to this year have already been feeling like it's been really slow. It's been
Mm-hmm.
kind of a downturn already, but I mean, even with that, I think that would have shaken me a lot more if I'd only been doing this for a year or two. But now that, I've been doing this for almost 7 years and I have seen like some ups and downs. And I've also had the benefit of hearing from other people like Lori Wong, who's been doing it for 20 years.
Hmm.
Right.
She's certainly seen some major ups and downs. And like, there's a way to make it through that. And it's really comforting to remember that when you're in like a lower moment. So,
Yeah, I mean, what about you, Glenn, for your last 23 years of selling?
Oh, before we get into that, you said you wanted to sell everything for Q4, and you already know how to make that happen. All you gotta
Yeah.
do is go on that live selling platform, whatnot. Start everything at $1. You do 10
It will
seconds sudden
sell.
death, and it
It
will
will
send
sell.
it.
sell.
No, you didn't say you wanted to make money. You just said you wanted to sell.
I think that's a good
Everything will
call
be
out, Glenn.
gone. Everything will be
Uh,
gone.
Good call out.
Before I do that, I would mark them out as break even on eBay.
And just liquidate.
Liquidate. I think that's the term.
All right, but
If
what now will be there? Just
What
saying.
not will
No,
be there? All right, why not?
I
Give me a call.
I appreciate that though because like I'm definitely the type of seller, my strategy has always been like long tail is fine with me. I don't care if I wait for 3 years to sell it. If I get the price that I want and my cost of goods was super low and I had no trouble storing it, like I don't mind that. But, Ken, like you're always saying, and I think it's a compelling counter to that whole strategy, is just that, like, yes, but the sooner that you have more capital, the sooner you can reinvest it and the sooner you can have better inventory and make more of a profit. And it's like, the churn versus long tail kind of thing, but it's also just about being able to, like you said, like have the cash on hand to seize the moment and to seize good opportunities. So yeah, I think that is a whole like area of reasoning and area of consideration for like what your strategy is that definitely plays into these decisions about sourcing and where to focus your energy in your business during these times. Whether it's Q4 or Q1 or summer or whenever. So
Yeah, Ken said that people that have big capital could win in Q1.
yeah.
And they could also lose big because
Oh.
if you don't have that vision too and you think everything's a deal because you're sourcing like you were sourcing in 2019.
Mm.
And because you have cash in your hand and you want to
Yeah.
spend
Yeah.
it.
Wait. Before you say
Okay,
anything,
go ahead, go ahead.
the thing that I could add into that is this really the bottom? Have we seen rock bottom
True.
yet? Because
Yeah.
recently there's been photos at Nike outlet, right? Perfect example, the Jordan 3 gold cement, Glenn, right?
Mm-hmm.
The women's. I thought they were a good deal at $99 extra 30% off. And I probably would have bought 20 pairs of them if I had extra cash.
Yeah.
But last week, Anna, we saw them go down to $79 extra 30% off.
Dang.
So if I would have bought that, I know somebody would. I know somebody bought that at 99 extra 30
Yeah,
Yeah.
somebody.
because
Yeah.
retail is 180 or some
Yeah.
170. So that's already half retail. And then now people are paying a quarter of retail. Then that's the question, Glenn. Take over. Like,
Yeah.
have we seen the bottom yet?
Yeah, exactly. Have you seen the rock bottom prices or your own life and
Is
heart? Because it could fall
Yeah.
fast.
Your own personal rock bottom.
Yeah. Yeah, so I would think you need that vision. Like we talked about on our live show, having the vision. And if you're in Q1, I would not just be buying everything. Have that vision and see like where you want to go throughout the year because I do agree that it will be a different year than some of the past ones, but if you have the capital, be pickier than you normally would because like that price could go to 99 down to 49 real quick. And what's stopping them from
Yeah.
selling it at 49? Nothing
yeah,
if they're trying to get rid of it and there's a ton. So,
yeah,
Well,
we
yeah, and it's like if they have just overproduced too. I mean,
yeah,
even
mhm.
still, years later, coming off of all of the supply chain issues from during the peak of COVID times, like there's been super excessive inventory left, right, and center, like popping up in different sectors. So
yeah,
it's like, who knows when that's going to hit your niche if you're in a niche and you have to know what you're looking for.
yeah. That is the challenge, really. That in some way, I would say this would be the time to be conservative, and
Hmm.
it's totally fine. Um, I've said this like take vacations, spend time with family, because in the past, I mean, everything's a cycle. And remember the Jordan ones, Glenn, showed up at a Nike outlet, and we thought 74 was cheap until I found it for $39 extra 30% off. That was wild. That made my business, because I bought 100 pairs of them and I sat on them for 2 months. And next thing you know, the economy went back up or the price of that
Yeah.
item went back up. Uh,
Yeah.
so I'm going to be conservative. I mean, like, this is totally not the hustle bee that you guys knew the last
No in
3 or
love.
4 years. No, in love. But I'll be conservative.
Well, and I think it's worth maybe teasing that out a little bit right here too, because there's different ways to be conservative, right? You can abstain completely because if you're not sure it's a good deal, you can, instead of maybe in the past when you would have gone all in and bought 100 pairs, maybe you buy 10 or 20 pairs, and that's a reasonable risk to take. It's like the scale of how much you participate or not and what choices you're making really depends on, you know, what that choice means in the context of your full picture, or like how big of a slice of pie are you giving that opportunity that may be a great opportunity, or 2 months from now you may be thanking yourself, or 2 months from now you may be like, I can't get rid of these things to save my life. So like, do you guys have any insights about that? Just like, what are the different ways that you can still move forward in your business but practice conservative choices?
Glenn can
Well,
speak on that.
well, you have to. The sales have to keep coming no matter what. Even if you do feel like you have to liquidate stuff and reuse that money, and even
Yeah.
if you're reusing that money for, you know, to pay yourself as far as like bills and other things like that, but to use that money and spend it right away to try to make a quick buck, it's not going to be worth it. And especially with, there was a really good quote. I forgot who was talking about on the e-commerce side on how, for the most part, like 2023 and into 2024, you're going to be doing double the work for
The
a
same amount of money.
similar amount of money and ROI that you were probably doing in like 2019 ish.
I don't
You
love to
know,
hear that.
I know, either do
Yeah,
I. But for the most part, it's been kind of true because I've
that's
seen,
true.
a lot
Yeah.
of the lower ROI stuff that, we've seen it also throughout the year, like certain shoe models that were selling for, like 170, 180 are now at the like, 100 to 110 range. And I remember when we'd see them go down to like 139, 149, and we're like, oh, there's some, pretty good money to be made there. But then they went down even lower now to where, like,
Yeah.
like Nike, they're on sale at that price at the 109 range. You're like, man, this is going cheap. Hopefully they don't go any lower. But we've seen that change. And also kind of random how the whole economy and everything plays games. Like, oh, what do you know? Gas is going down because money has to be spent in the
Yeah.
stores and
Yeah.
online. So the money kind of, recycles itself. Everyone gets a little
Right.
little
It
shot.
shifts around.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And once this is over, gas is going to go back up again. Other prices go up, of course, like health insurance, like that's going to go. Everything goes up
Yeah.
every year, but now you get to see the differences once 2024 starts. And then it just goes again into a little
Yeah.
cycle. So I don't
Yeah.
like that.
I don't like that. That stinks.
Yeah, when's the conspiracy episode? Are we doing one?
Isn't it this one?
This one.
This
We're
is
just
This is
predictions
we're
it.
for
yeah,
Q1.
we're
Yeah.
prediction Q1,
This is the
Q4.
crystal
Yeah.
ball.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is it. Yeah.
Well, okay, I have a question for you, Ken. So, say that you are. I recently heard someone say everybody wants to be the hustle bee, and I'm not going to argue with that. So, for all of those who want to be the hustle bee, and they're like, you know what? Yes, I'm jumping on the bandwagon. I want to sell half my inventory in Q4. I want to
Take
liquidate,
naps.
sell it all down, get the cash in hand, take naps, go on vacations, drink something amazing on an island. Like, they just want to be you. They want to do what you're doing. What is a good strategy for selling, like, quote unquote, selling as much as you can in Q4, right? Because I feel like a lot of people are like, well, of course, I'm always trying to sell as much as I can.
Yeah.
But you mean that in a strategic way. So, like,
Yeah.
what do you mean by that? How can
Yeah.
people try to do that?
I would say I would go through the inventory and find out the things that are easily replenishable. Talking about the quality, right? Like, in specifics for my store, like I'm trying to liquidate Converse because I found out throughout the year that I can easily get Converse, so it's not a hard to find inventory.
Yeah.
So evaluate your store, find out the easy to find inventory, or let's just say inventory aside, let's do like, okay, this inventory types of inventory double my money. Okay, I'm probably want to keep that, but what are inventories that are barely doubling my money? So I would start with the inventory that gives you the lowest return on profit or lowest return in quality of inventory. So I
Mm,
would say the most used item that you have, if you sell used, get rid of it. If it's
yeah.
something that throughout history that you've always been able to find, get rid of it now. Get that cash back and invest on higher quality item and higher ROI item, because
Yeah.
over
More
time,
rare, better
more
quality.
rare, right? Like more rare, better profit, and then also less competition, right? Because more than ever, when we talk about there's going to be more products out in the market, I would hang out to, for example, in shoes, I would hang on to a little bit more of my older Kobe's that they're not gonna reproduce again. But for the Jordans and the Dunks that they keep restocking every month, let go of them because it's not gonna go up anytime soon. That's a fact. Because
Yeah.
for perfect example, Panda Dunks, they were at $300 at one point, and then now they're barely retail or under retail, and they're available in any website. So if you had those, either cut your losses now or remove them on your, sell them. That way you can, hook your money or attach your money in something that will bring more long-term gain, rather than just trying to like, because cut, I've said this, cut the losses early so that you won't lose more.
Right.
Because if it's
Well,
if,
and
if it's
like,
eventually it's gonna sink, then you don't want your inventory in the bottom.
yeah. I think too, I mean, like for me, my average cost of goods is like 88 cents an item or
Hmm.
something. It's like so small. The investments I think more about are my time.
Hmm.
And honestly, sometimes if I have like my sister-in-law works for me, and so if I've paid her to process that item, okay, well then it's like, approximately $3 or $4.88 is actually my sunk cost in that
Hmm.
item, which I could sell just about anything in my store and quote unquote get my money back.
Right.
But I think it's important, like this is a really obvious duh statement, but I think it's important to point it out so that other people will also remember, like, when you, even if you're liquidating, you feel like you're breaking even, or you literally are breaking even on your cost of goods or whatever, like you are functionally getting your same money back from that item.
Hmm.
So I
Yeah.
think a lot of times people think of things as a loss. That's
Hmm.
not actually a loss. Even if
Yeah, you
it's
just
break
park your
even, it's
money.
like,
You parked your money.
yeah, you're just getting it out back out of the ATM. It's your own money still that you
Hmm.
spent in the first place. And I think people don't really think of it that way, and
Hmm.
because we have all these attachments to like
Yeah.
our expectations that we wanted to make X amount on this item or whatever. So, yeah, I mean, I think it is really important to factor in all of your investments, not just your cost of goods, but also like don't be emotionally attached to that cost of goods and just get it back out of there if you can. Like, I think that's
Hmm.
good advice.
So for Ken, that I mean, it makes sense. The replenishables, maybe the excess inventory that there's just too much of stuff, sell it.
Yeah.
But what about on Anna's side? Let's say for someone that sells anything and everything, how do
Yeah.
you? That wouldn't make sense because there's no replenishables on that point of view. It's more of like rare, unique items. So what would be the game plan in that case? Selling older inventory that hasn't sold? Maybe going back into your older inventory, maybe like a year, 2 years, 3 years. Hey, there's
Plus.
three,
Yeah.
four views only on
Right.
this. There's no one looking at
Hmm.
Oh,
this. There's
yeah.
no one watching this.
That's
Let's
true.
get these items out because they've been sitting here for a long time
Yeah.
and I'm not seeing any
Well, and it,
traction.
in that case, I might selectively, which I still want to hear what Coach Ken has to say about it. But I'll tell you from my own experience so far, I would probably put more effort into promoting those items so that people are more likely to find them,
Hmm.
because it's not so much that it's an easy item to find, or like you can just get them everywhere. It's such a commodity. It's just like not that many people are looking for this specific weird thing.
Mm,
Right.
And so if I can increase the chance of it finding that person, that's they will pay what I'm asking for it. They just haven't found it.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
it might be
So
more like that rather than like marking it way down, which won't make any difference if no one ever sees it.
yeah, that is a good point because, um, you want to mark down when you want to get out, but it's only gonna go out if somebody's looking for it, right? So now
Yeah.
we go into the question: are you trying to build a business based on rarity,
Right.
But if you're building business on rarity, it has to be more specific, and you gotta be a little bit more expert in it, right?
Yeah,
Perfect
and more
example,
more
if it's like,
searchable.
yeah, if it's like a painting, right? Or if it's
Yeah.
like a vintage Rolex, there's a market for it. It's not going to be popular, but you have to be expert at it. I think one of the things that
Yeah.
we're trying to distinguish is, what if it's just different miscellaneous item, right? And obviously that could be something that you can speak on. It's like,
Yeah.
you have to have you evaluate your store, even if it's random, because like, we're niche based, but I just still see things as random, right? Because it's like different brands, different size, right?
Yeah.
Size,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like
Well,
a terrible
you're
size for, yeah, size
yeah.
8 in men's is terrible,
Yeah,
right?
your
Like,
target buyer is like really diverse still, depending on the
right, and
item.
it's, yeah,
Yeah.
at some point it gets too narrow that
Mm-hmm.
you want that out of your business, because why do you have a business that's, you're trying to find the last person on earth to look for it?
Right.
Like, why don't you get rid of that, get rid of the bottom, and put something on top, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
so let's say if in a year there's only the least viewed items, it's actually costing you money to hold that inventory and missing out on new opportunities, when
Right.
on this level of your game, you're actually better than that, right? Because like,
Yeah.
if you would you pick it
Oh,
again?
sure.
Would you pick it up
Right.
again? I think that's the question, right? Look at every inventory and see if you would you pick it again. And if you're not gonna pick it again, it's time to go out, because there are other
Yeah.
things that you can invest your money in better. Because I think it comes down to the limited capitalization. If you have all the capitalization in the world, just buy everything. It don't matter. It's gonna sell. You're gonna make money. But
Yeah.
we're living in
Yeah.
constraints here, that
Correct.
capitalization is important, right? If you have capitalization, get rid of the lowest valuable item and lowest
Yeah.
quality item in your store, and replace it with better. The
If you
the
have,
goal,
yeah, all
yeah,
the
yeah.
good.
And if you have the time in the world, go buy everything. And
Well, that's what I was gonna say.
yeah,
Unlimited time and unlimited money. Don't worry about it. It will sell eventually.
yeah.
But that's not the world we live
it's
in.
it's not efficient, right? Like, at the end of the day,
Yeah.
even the people that can buy everything, they still don't buy everything, because it's not
Right.
efficient. It's
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
efficient enough to store it. It's not efficient to advertise it, to list it, to put the manpower to do it. And you hear it all the time from the richest people that I rub shoulders with. It's like, I'm
Yeah.
not gonna buy that Ferrari because it's a depreciating asset. I'd rather buy a rare Porsche because it's an increasing asset. So what they're doing,
Yeah.
they're getting rid of their inventory or stuff that depreciates, and put their money on a car that appreciates. So I think this is the
Right.
same thing, same concept. Put your capitalization on stuff that increases in value or increases in worth over time. That's worth your time and effort in storing it, versus the ones that are just like, they can find it anywhere anyway.
Totally. I think that's super helpful. It's a super helpful way of thinking about it for people like me who do sell miscellaneous, who like the quirky, weird stuff, who have over and over and over again experienced, I bought this for 50 cents 3 years ago and finally sold it for $200. Like, that's a regular occurrence for me. So it's hard to differentiate. And for a lot of other people too. Like, this is not just
Yep.
me, but like misc sellers like this, it's like, yeah, but what if this does sell for what I think it's worth in, however long? And of course, your pricing has to be based on like something,
Right.
comps or whatever. Maybe it's worth rechecking the market on some things or whatever. But I love the question, because all of us who do sell miscellaneous, who are, you know, jack of all trades, master of none, like, we, at this point, if we've been doing it a while, we have a pretty strong sense of intuition that's based on experience. So I love the question, would I buy this again? Because that counts all of that experience, and what I'm kind of referring to as intuition, but it's really just a big aggregate of experience
Yep.
to help make that determination on what kind of feels like a gut level, because we're making those judgments about our inventory all the time on a gut level. At least we should be if our brains are turned on while we're sourcing new stuff. We're always asking, would I buy that? If, I see stuff all the time that I've sold before or that I've sourced before, and I'm like, I'm not doing that one again.
Mm-hmm.
But I
No.
think using that as a strategy to cull your inventory and like liquidate stuff is brilliant. So thanks for saying it that way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like the
Um,
question. Like, would you pick that up again now?
Yeah.
Because your business is also continuously
evolving.
changing
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
evolving, like you said. So you might be like not
And it
even,
should.
yeah, it should not even in that niche
Yeah.
anymore. Or maybe you're really focusing on something you do
Right.
enjoy, and that wasn't really. Maybe that was just something that you got because it was available, not necessarily
Yeah.
because you
Or the
really
market
enjoyed it.
has, yeah, the market's shifted on stuff.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I'm the queen of 1,000 experiments. So many of my items were kind of a really inexpensive experiment.
Mm.
And I don't mind admitting that. It's like some of it totally panned out, some of it probably didn't. And now I've learned a valuable lesson from it. And even if you're going to remain like really diversified in your inventory and have miscellaneous, that doesn't mean that your standards for quality, rarity, value, expertise can't get better and better over time. It
Yeah.
Yep.
should. It
I
should.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Eventually, in whatever category, your quality and evaluation and experience will eventually get to a next level
Yeah.
that it should reflect to how you're buying, right?
Yeah.
Right.
I think
Only if you apply it though.
that's true. Yeah,
You have
that's
to
only if
apply
you
it.
learn your lesson, right? If you learn your
Yeah,
lesson, that's the constant
exactly.
evaluation that's
Yeah.
different with a more niche category and a more spread out category that you guys
Right.
eventually will have to learn so many lessons in so many categories that over time it builds up that for me it just my glass of experience because it's skinny and tall fills up faster compared to your
Mm.
wide glass that still the same takes amount of ounce or something like that but it just fills up a lot longer because it's wide.
I feel like you're insulting my glass right now, but that's fine.
It's the same amount
A
of water
big
in
mug
it
of
so
coffee, just
yeah.
different.
See,
You know
I
it.
like the tiny
You know it.
espresso. I like the
Mm-hmm.
tiny espresso,
I
so it
Yeah.
figured.
fills up quick. Yeah,
Effective.
yeah.
I figured
I
that.
like to enjoy the experience, so I prefer a giant mug of coffee. Thank you.
That makes sense.
Glenn, how about you?
I do like the. I guess I don't know. There's some good. Well, I like the replenishable side that Ken said because I can relate to that. But then I also can
Yeah,
relate to
that's a
your
really good
side
one.
with the kind of like the rarity part, where like just improve on the quality items, like the lower quality stuff, or maybe some stuff that you picked up years ago. You're not really into that anymore, or things that had changed. Move on from that. So I think
Yeah.
they're both really good statements that if you do have the opportunity to replenish, unlike what Ken said, yeah, now's the time to just sell and try to get out of that stuff. I feel like we're gonna see a big wave during that Q4. I mean, so many shoes that came out, so many models, so many colorways. Same thing goes with apparel. Same thing goes for.
Mm.
It's kind of crazy with like the collectibles of like when Funko Pops were like a big thing. Now it's like every show has characters with Funko Pops. Now those have like
Yeah.
variants.
It's just saturation issues,
Yep.
right?
Crazy.
Yeah.
It's like now all those have
If
like,
Yeah.
different colors and it's like it's just so much
Yeah.
product, so many
Yeah.
items and I think people lose
Which I
interest
mean,
too in collecting.
yeah. They get like desensitized to it, but also like on my side of the corner of the universe, like that's something I love about vintage stuff is like it's not oversaturated for the most part.
Mhm.
It is maybe a more specific market who's looking for that aesthetic for their housewares or their clothing or whatever. But like they are literally not making it anymore. So,
Yeah.
if it does have the chance to come more into popularity as an aesthetic or whatever, and then all of a sudden it is more valuable than it was 2 years ago. Like that definitely happens. But, at the same time, I think all of this has to be couched in like what Ken was saying about just you have to consider your current constraints and your capital. Like you don't have unlimited time and money to wait on that stuff. So maybe it's time to, send some things on their way in Q4 so that you can be ready for the next opportunity.
Yeah.
Yep.
I agree.
And I think like anything in life, if you have learned your lesson, will you do it again?
True.
If you haven't
Yeah.
learned your lesson, you're eventually gonna do it again.
Yeah.
So, in inventory, will you buy it again? Now
Yeah.
that you're more experienced, will you buy it again? And one thing that my parents always said, now that you've learned your lesson, why have you done it again? Now you're in bigger trouble.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And never settle.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. So I
Temptations,
guess
man.
that's the question that we have to ask ourselves. Will
Yeah.
you buy the same items again? And if not, let it go. And as lessons I've learned from my parents, you've made this mistake before. Why are you making this again?
Yeah.
I
I
like
I think
that.
think
it's also
that's
worth saying like you are not equivalent with your mistakes and your bad sourcing decisions. You are allowed to be totally separate from that. You're not stupid, you're not a bad business person. You're a person making choices and learning from them, and that's really all there is to it. It doesn't
yep.
have to be
It's
any
an
more complicated than
experiment.
that.
It's an
Yep.
experiment, and it didn't go the way your hypothesis said it.
Yeah,
Right?
it's like an
Just-
educated guess at best, and you're still going to be wrong on those sometimes. So it's okay.
It's
Just
okay.
don't keep doing it. Just learn from it, and then it's worth something more valuable than the dollar amount.
I like that. And I think as we wrap it up, Glenn, any last thoughts?
I don't know. I like this episode. Now I'm ready for Q4.
Let's do it.
Awesome.
So, question
Or Q1, I should say. Ready for
Q1.
Q1. Ready for Q1.
Ready for a Q1.
Yeah,
Ready
he's
for
fast
something
forwarding. He
fresh.
can't wait for January.
Yeah.
That's true. He can't wait for his birthday,
Yeah,
so
ready
we
to
might
be
have a
older.
birthday
Yes.
bash.
Birthday bash.
Yeah.
Oh
Ready.
my gosh, we should. We should.
Yeah, we'll bring Glenn to snow.
To the Philippines. I don't
I
want
was
to be in
gonna
the
say,
snow.
what
I want to
about
go
the
to.
I mean, he better at least get a birthday present from the Philippines.
Oh, he'll definitely get some. Oh, I know
okay.
what he likes.
Okay.
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 Very
He
nice,
likes some
very nice.
snacks, some good snacks. from
Snacks.
the
Oh yeah,
Philippines
those are good snacks.
that
I
are
love those
vegan
snacks.
friendly.
Yeah, I like those snacks.
So guys, there you have it. A really interesting episode. We've talked about sourcing, and I guess we ended in a question. We started the
Yeah.
show and gave you a very insightful question. Now, all things considered, will you buy it again? And that ends our show. My name is Ken.
I'm Glenn.
All right, we gotta end it again. We gotta end it.
Put
So,
a clip.
Glenn, you
And-
go second.
Sorry.
You go second.
All right, my name is. Oh, hold on. That's not live. My name is Ken.
I'm Glenn Hustler Hacks.
And I'm Anna.
Peace.
See ya.